Buckle up, football fans. It's time now for Toyota Talks. We now welcome in Manti Te'o, former linebacker at Notre Dame, from Good Morning Football, also on the NFL Network, part of Good Morning Football on Fox Chicago Plus as well, every day at noon. All right, hey, Manti, good to see you again, buddy. It's been a while.
Good to see you.
It's been a while, but now good times. Last time we talked, it wasn't good times in this town, but now we're really feeling good about our Bears. And after watching the Bears-Commanders game Monday, what did you think of the way the Bears played?
Gritty. Gritty. You talk about getting their hands on a ball, causing 3 turnovers, and all those turnovers turning to points, especially that fumble recovery. And leading to the game-winning field goal. I think when you look at this team, it's a team that's starting to gain some traction, not only as to how they play, but understanding what the expectations are from Ben Johnson, their head coach. They're starting to have that identity. And Caleb Williams is starting to look a little bit more comfortable. So I think if you're a Chicago Bears fan, you couldn't be more happy. I'm happy for them, and I'm glad they came out with that win.
I want to talk about that takeaway coming up in a couple of minutes. But first, let me ask you, because the critics are going to say, Manti, yeah, Bears were lucky to block the Raiders' field goal attempt in Vegas, and they were given a gift with the Jaden Daniels fumble. You agree, or do you believe that in this game of football, you create your own luck?
Well, I think that, Lou, when it comes to luck, you don't create your own luck because you don't create your own opportunities. And I'm not one that believes in luck, because I think regardless of football or in life, there are a lot of opportunities that present themselves, and you need to be prepared to make the most out of those opportunities. I know a lot of people that have opportunities that weren't prepared to take advantage of them. So luck isn't in my vocabulary. I don't think it is in the Bears vocabulary. I think all of those things happened because they were prepared to take advantage of certain situation, and they capitalized on those situations, and hence they've gotten the wins to back that up.
I like that. All right, right tackle Darnell Wright. This guy's playing with a torn ligament in his right elbow. DJ Moore played almost every down, and then he needed to spend the night in a hospital in Washington, D.C. What is it about this team now where guys want to play even if they're hurting out there?
Well, it's no surprise when you get somebody like Ben Johnson that comes in from the Detroit Lions for the past 3 years, and you understand his head coach that he had there with Dan Campbell. And I mean, everybody knows the clips of him in his opening presser talking about biting off kneecaps. You understand the grit that he has preached, the type of culture that he's tried to instill there. I mean, talking about training camp, hearing that they were going live and everything, including 7-on-7. For me, as a former player, I have never gone live contact in 7-on-7, but that is the result. It is the toughness, the tenacity, and I said that G word, grit, that is a result of those types of things. And whenever you look at a head coach like Ben Johnson, you see what he values, and you're starting to see the Chicago Bears team take on the same type of look. And it's been good to see someone like DJ Moore, who I remember last year had there was some heat that he was getting for supposedly walking off the field during the middle of a play. And then you hear stuff like this, and it just reaffirms to you that this guy has always been somebody that has played for his teammates, that has played for the love of the game. And I'm so glad that people are starting to hear about that stuff too as well.
I couldn't agree with you more. Bears run defense, and you're going to take us really deep inside the linebacker position right now, but the run defense was brutal the first 4 games. You're a linebacker. TJ Edwards was back from injury, and Dennis Allen played Edwards at Mike linebacker, and he moved Tremaine Edmonds to Will linebacker, and suddenly the Bears' awful defense wasn't so awful anymore. Why do you think the move worked?
Well, when you have somebody like Edwards that understands what it means to be a general, and let me say this before I do this, Sewell did a tremendous job in there for a young guy to go in there and to be in that situation. I thought he played tough, and he did his ultimate best, and I thought he was very productive for the Bears defense. But when you have Edwards and the communication is at a premium, and as a general of a defense, just making sure we're on the same page. We had a saying on defense that said, if we're all wrong, we're all right. What that means is it is paramount as me as a Mike linebacker to communicate at a level that everybody is doing the same thing, that we're executing the same play, regardless if I call the wrong play. As long as we execute that play efficiently, we'll win most snaps than we lose. And so when you have somebody like Edwards that is in there and he's communicating and he knows the nuances of the defense, now you have all 11 guys playing as one. And regardless of what you call, what Dennis Allen may, call in that green dot in that helmet, you know that they're going to execute it at the same time with the same type of intensity. And I think that has a lot of impact on how they played.
Man, I love that insight. Bears have forced 11 takeaways the last 3 games, and you played for a guy like Dennis Allen in New Orleans. Does Allen put an emphasis on taking away the football? Did he when you played for him?
Let me tell you something, Lou. So, number one, whenever we had a competitive period where we would go against the offense, a lot of times guys would call it tag off. A lot of teams don't go live anymore where they tackle guys to the ground. So they emphasize, running up to the runner or the ball carrier and tagging them off. With Dennis and our defense when we were in New Orleans, nobody tagged off. We would all punch at the ball, strip at the ball. We would try to get the ball out. And now it would frustrate a lot of our teammates, but that was what we did. That was what we emphasized. And then every Friday was turnover Friday, and we would break up into 3 different circuits and we would rotate. And these weren't just tip ball drills. These weren't just punch out drills. These were situational drills that we would encounter in the game. And because we had that emphasis there as well, whenever the game came, we were always constantly looking at ways to take the ball away. So it's no surprise to me that the Chicago Bears defense has seemed to find a way to always get the ball, because not only do they have a defensive coordinator that preaches it, but a lot of people don't remember that this Chicago Bears defense last year was one of the best at a certain point of the year at taking the ball away and putting points up on the board. I mean, I can go back to the Tennessee Titans game where they had one of the best defensive performances in a long time. So when you combine those two, the personnel and the head coach, you get that.
And tell me if I'm wrong, it becomes contagious, man, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Where guys are internally starting to compete for takeaways.
I know. It's like, scoring a touchdown on offense and you're like looking at your teammate like, man, I want one of those. And you start telling the quarterback, hey, throw the ball to me. It happens on the defense as well. Like, hey, you got to pick. I want to pick. You strip the fumble. I want to strip a fumble. And it starts to become a contagious thing. And in New Orleans, I like to say we started the picture taking thing. That's what we claim. When we get an interception, we would run over to the camera and we'd take a picture as a team and as a unit. So to your point, Lou, it does get contagious and everybody wants to be in front of that camera dancing or doing some silly thing.
Man, I remember those not good days when the Bears were going against the Saints, but I remember those days. Hey, Ben Johnson said he shortened the call sheet to get his run game going. Did you think it was a good move by Johnson?
No, I didn't think it was a good move. I thought it was a great move, Lou. What I do see about Caleb this past week that is a huge contrast from week 1 and 2 is, if you notice in week 1 and 2, Ben Johnson was curating some long developing plays. Now, you saw a Caleb Williams that was trying to ad-lib a lot in those times. Now, what I saw this past week was a Caleb Williams he was very direct and he was very precise and he was quick with the ball. He was very good at getting the ball out of his hands. There was a point in the time on DeAndre Swift's touchdowns where right when Caleb's back foot hit the ground, he threw the ball to DeAndre and DeAndre took it like 60, 50 something yards for a touchdown. The 2-point conversion was a huge contrast to that, where you start to see Caleb move his feet a little bit more. I think Ben Johnson has started to understand that the more simple I keep this play call, the better my quarterback plays. And I think if he continues to keep it simple for Caleb, let Caleb use his God-given abilities to throw the ball, they'll be just fine on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think Ben's learning with each game.
Yeah.
Hey, Bears won 3 games in a row last year, then they lost 10 straight. Would you be blown away if this Bears team that's won 3 in a row went on a losing streak this year like they did last season?
I would be very, very surprised if they do that. I think the next 3 games are very winnable for them, and I think the next 3 games are going to say more about them than the wins, because it is one thing to win a game that people expect you to lose. It's another thing to lose a game that people expect you to win. I think it speaks more volume when the latter happens. Now, if they can go in there and put a beating on teams that people expect them to, I think that says more about their maturity and the preparation to win, and that they're ready to win long term.
Hey, buddy, I'll tell you what, man, all four teams in the NFC North have winning records. This is the best division in football.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against that, Lou. I think it's been that way for the past few years, if not in the NFL, definitely in the NFC. And the great thing about that is I've always equated this to when I was in college. Somebody once told me that college football is a lot better when teams like Ohio State, Notre Dame, Miami, Alabama are good. I look at the NFC North as that division where it's almost looking like the founding fathers of football. When the founding fathers are good, the whole brand of the Football League is better because of it. So it's hard to argue against that, Lou.
And I'm sure that it's much better to go to work at Good Morning Football when your fellow teammate, Bears fan Kyle Brandt, is showing up at work with his Bears on a 3-game winning streak, right?
Listen, Kyle tries to play it down, but it's hard for him to not be excited about it when the Bears are on the spreadsheet and we start talking about Bears and he starts getting into his friends group chats and all of that stuff. It's been a while since he's been happy about it, and is very optimistic, as he should be.
I feel it. I feel it. Hey, man, as always, Manti, thanks, buddy. Great, great, great conversation.
As always, good to see you, Brother Lou. I appreciate it. Until next time.
Okay, bud.